Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Look Back podcast with Sam and Maddie, brought to you by drroto.com. Get your daily prescription of fantasy sports. Maddie, thank you so much for being so patient with me as we couldn't record yesterday because I was at the game. It was so much fun.
Trying to hide my FOMO.
Oh my God. It was so crazy. Plus, like, my phone died like 30 minutes into the game because I wasn't planning on going to the game. So it wasn't like, I'm going to do my due diligence, charge the phone so I can take all the pictures and do all the things. No, I literally couldn't use my phone at all. It was ridiculous.
So you actually got to experience it and not through Snapchat videos or just videoing.
No, I watched the game. I didn't watch the game like this with like my hand here, just like doing the video thing that people do. So it was an amazing experience. I had really great seats thanks to work, and it was awesome. I was right on the 50-yard line, so it was like you can smell the sweat. It was also just, we were talking a little bit about this off air, but it was so loud. It was like, I've never experienced anything that loud in my life. It was insanely loud, and it was such a fun energy.
Next year, I'm going to SoFi Stadium.
Yes,
it's happening.
Yes.
Wow. I'm so excited that you got to experience that.
Yeah, me too. It was definitely like, I mean, I know I love football. I've known I love football, but like if I didn't love football before, like, oh my gosh, no one is ever going to be able to beat football in my life. Like number one love of all time. Like that's just the energy, the fandom, just like being surrounded by that was just on a whole other level of intensity because SoFi was such an amazing stadium. Like so good.
I have to ask, because I know people are going to think about it.
Yeah.
What was it like when Buda Baker went down? Did fans really know what was going on?
Okay, so no one knew what was going on. What was frustrating for me was I knew that if I had been watching the game at home, I would be able to just jump to the replay on my computer screen and I would be able to see what happened. But they kind of didn't, I don't want to say blacked out the video screens, but it was like everything was just graphics across the board. They weren't replaying it. So everyone was just like, what's going on? What's going on? People that had cell service could like check the video on their phones. And so it was just all this question mark of like, what happened? Like no one knew. And then we saw the cart come out and then we saw the stretcher come from a different angle. So it was like, oh, this is bad. And then of course what happens, and I think one reason why they don't show it on the big jumbo screen is because fans tend to get very passionate when they see someone get hurt. And there was a fight that broke out in the corner that like escalated down like the stairs. And so we're like distracted watching this fight happen, but then also watching this. So yeah, it was silence and just confusion because no one knew. The hit was so quick too. We didn't really understand what happened.
I couldn't tell until the replay. Yeah. So I can't even imagine. That makes sense that they wouldn't re-show it. But yeah, wow, that was scary. It was so scary.
So, I mean, what was the injury anyways?
So he went in for the tackle and him and Cam Akers hit heads.
Yeah.
What was scary is on the replay, you see his body just goes limp and his arm flies off and Cam gets up, but it was so blatant that his teammate looks down and they were like, we need help. And literally at the same time, you see a Rams player right behind him saying, come out, like we need help.
Oh, wow.
So you knew immediately like he was gone. And so there was like Cam Akers comes across like right behind him and does this thing. He doesn't know he's hurt. Whatever you want to say about that, he doesn't know he's hurt. He does this thing, but the player that's directly to the right of Cam when that happens is looking down on him like, are you alive? And then the teammate behind Cam Akers, that is the Cardinals teammate, is like, we need help. And immediately right then the Rams player is like, we need help. Wow. So when you saw the playback, like his lifeless body like flopping over and you see his limbs just doing whatever they want to do, that was scary. But then whenever you see the fear in the teammates' eyes, that was so bad.
God, no, that's very scary. I mean, obviously, like everyone clapped when he got taken off, but like, have we heard anything in the news? I mean, I've been obviously.
He tweeted out that he said, "I'm doing okay. Thank you for your prayers," or whatever. But he's going through concussion protocol.
Still, whenever you see them go limp, or a couple weeks ago, you saw, was it Donald Parham, where he like all of a sudden his arms go stiff and they go straight up. Like that's very scary too. So
the inadvertent limb movements.
Yeah.
What's up, scary. Albert?
Everyone tuning in, joining us. Thanks guys for coming in, hanging out with us. Appreciate it. But yeah, that was definitely a crazy moment in the game. And let's talk more about the game too, and kind of go backwards as we go through the entire wildcard weekend, because there's plenty of fun stuff to cover. There's plenty to dissect going forward into next week. But I think overall, the play that I saw and that we all saw from the Rams yesterday, I was surprised by what we saw from the Rams. Having been there and hearing how loud it was, I'm not surprised the Cardinals couldn't do much.
They shut the Cardinals down.
They really shut them down.
Did not have a chance to do anything, which is wild to me. And me going off saying that Matt Stafford was going to have some picks, he just really proved me wrong.
Yeah, no, I totally thought he was going to have at least one. I thought Stafford was going to have at least one pick, but the way that they used Cam Akers too, I mean, that was kind of surprising. I didn't know that they were going to give him that much of a workload right off the bat.
Especially coming off that injury.
Absolutely.
Wow. And for him to perform that way, that was impressive.
He had amazing burst. His quickness was insane. He was cutting across the field. Like, he was everywhere. And that was really cool too, to see, obviously coming off that injury, that he could be so dynamic right off the bat. That was really exciting to see.
I think it was Michael Florio who said, is it just me or is he coming back faster? Or maybe he retweeted it. But I felt the same way.
No, I
really
agree.
He looked like he was faster.
He did look a lot faster. You know, if also he's
okay, but he did not have that type of game. I'm trying to eat my food.
Yes. We hear you, Heat. We know that he played last week, but still, like, that level, I don't know that we were all expecting that level of craziness. It was such an intense level of play. I mean, you know, he had 55 yards. He looked great. But just
he was so explosive.
Super explosive. I mean, he was used in the passing game as well. He had 40 yards there. So just how dynamically they used him, I think that was really exciting to me too.
Absolutely. I don't know what happened with the Cardinals.
No,
I really don't. Either. They were shut down on both sides of the ball.
Definitely. Heat joining us saying the only thing that held him back, that was the 3 penalties and a touchdown that Michelle got. I mean, yeah, but
they shut down Cooper Kupp, essentially. The man squeaked in with 1 touchdown. But they had him double teamed the whole time.
They did. And I think what we saw was the answer to what happens when you shut down Cooper Kupp, and that's literally everyone else getting the targets. And obviously Odell Beckham had the first touchdown of the game. Tyler Higbee had some really big catches, some really good after the play yards that he got. Everyone else was stepping up very equally across the board. And that's something that we should hopefully expect to see in the next game as well, is like, if you're going to shut down one weapon, everyone else is going to have to step up, and they all can step up. I think that's kind of the underlying thing. Whereas when you look at the Cardinals, obviously with Hopkins out, it's just really choked what the rest of the offense is capable of. I mean, obviously people are saying, you know, Zach Ertz is going to have a big game. Christian Kirk is going to be the one, but no one had that big game that could really fill those shoes. And that's what really, I think, was the thorn in their side.
Absolutely. I also think that the Rams dominated in the trenches. And I know that people get sick of me saying that, but on both sides of the ball, they just took the cake. I do feel bad for Murray because I feel like nobody was helping him make things happen. I think that who was that, Albert, who said that the Cardinals missed Hopkins? I agree. I think that was a major turning point. I think when JJ Watt went out, that was a major turning point. And I know he was on the field, but you could tell that he wasn't 100%, and nor should he have been. He shouldn't have been on the field. No. The man just had reconstructive surgery. Has a whole new shoulder. Should not have been out there.
Like, I appreciate that team aspect of someone like JJ Watt that wants to be there for the team, wants to be there, present on the field, maybe play a couple downs, but, you know, ultimately he's not going to be able to make the difference in the game that he would if he was at full health. And so it just definitely felt like everyone was kind of missing a step in order to have an answer to all of the problems that the Rams were giving the Cardinals on both sides of the ball.
I agree. I also feel like the Rams came in and they just disrupted the Cardinals' tempo.
Yeah.
I think we've finally reached a point to where the Rams know how to utilize all of their defensive players at once.
Yep.
And I think that we're going to see a lot of this going into next week's game. I think that they're going to target the right side of the line.
Yep.
And I think that they're going to bunch up like they did, like what we saw with the Cardinals.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And we had a defensive touchdown. I'm sure that you were super excited about that one.
Yes. Lots of questions on if that was a thick six or not. And I feel like it counts.
I think it counts. Yeah,
it counts.
I definitely think it counts.
As long as you were a big man scoring touchdown. I feel like if you're defensive lineman, it counts.
That definitely counts. I mean, you have to be of a certain size to be a defensive lineman. So I think that qualifies. Right. But yeah, no, that was a really fun touchdown to watch too. Because at the game too, I was like, "Oh, Maddie's gonna be super excited." So that was really fun too.
I love the big man touchdowns. Give me a thick six at any point,
any day. Let's go.
And
it gets the people going.
Yes, and now my phone blows up. My friends know. They're like, "Your phone's going crazy." I just sit back and watch it happen. I love it. So much fun.
So freaking good. I love it. Any other takeaways from this one before you know that the Rams are going to take on the Bucs this week?
Bucs. No, I think that's my predictions going into. I think that they are going to target the right side of the Bucs line, which is obviously their weakness right now. I think that if Stafford comes out playing like he did this past week, the Bucs are going to be in a little bit more trouble than what people think. I think it's going to be a heavy play action under center game because we know that that's how you're able to stop the Rams. If you can get Brady to go play action under center, the Rams are going to jump on every single thing immediately, and Brady's going to be able to capitalize on that.
Yeah, I love this question, Will Jenkins. Is TJ Watt big enough to qualify for a thick six?
You know what? The Watts are just different, and I have a special place in my heart, so I feel like they qualify.
Yep.
If a Watt brother scores a touchdown, we're going to give it to him. They get a thick six.
100%. Yes, I agree with that. Heat saying, Ramsey gets Evans. Who cares about the rest? The thing with this game coming up, though, that I have to think about is it is Tom Brady. And anytime you kind of dismiss Brady in any sense, it's going to come back and bite you. So I'm not discounting that the Bucs don't have the weapons right now, given all their injuries anyways, that they can still put forth a really strong offensive front and get the job done. I'm not going to question that whatsoever. My thought is if the Rams can have as balanced a game as they had in this one on both sides of the ball, if Stafford keeps from making mistakes, no interceptions, we keep it clean, I think the Rams are going to have the best opportunity to win if they can repeat this output. I think that they'll have the best chance.
Absolutely, because what's going to have to happen is on the defensive side of the ball, the Bucs are going to have to choose, are we going to stop the run or are we going to shut down Cooper Kupp?
Yeah.
That's what it's going to come down to. They can't do both. They don't have the personnel to do both.
No, certainly not in the backfield.
If Stafford can stay consistent, if he can stay accurate, it's going to be a problem for the Bucs. And like I said, I think that defense can be a huge problem. We already have a questionable status on the right side of the line. And even if that right tackle can come out and play, he's not going to be 100% healthy, which is going to be a problem. He's going to be slower, and that's going to be a major weakness that we're going to watch the Rams just take advantage of.
Yeah, I definitely think that they're going to, if they don't right off the bat, first quarter, come in hard, both sides of the ball, then absolutely they're going to lose they're going to lose the game. They have to be consistent and come out strong in that first quarter. Any sign of weakness, Brady will sniff it out and he's going to attack. So they just got to be very consistent.
And Brady's going to know everybody's game in and out. That's what he does. He's going to be obsessive compulsive about it. This man is breathing, sleeping, whatever he's doing. He's probably watching Rams film in the shower if he's showering. It's happening.
I'm sure. Yeah. No, he's definitely probably got. Have you seen those shower curtains where you can like put your phone in it and then you can like?
I have a redneck one. Cal's joining us.
Oh, hey, bud.
Callaway says hello. He's like, Mom, you did not feed me dinner yet. Please get off.
Please, pretty please. That's adorable. My cat's trying to eat the wires from behind the computer. So if my signal goes out, it's because the cat decided, I'm done with you podcasting, Mom. You're up there too much.
Thank you, Knox.
Thanks, Knox. Really appreciate it. But let's go backward. Let's talk Chiefs, Steelers. I mean, and when we're looking at, I still have our notes on our picks for the week. You did have the Cardinals, not to call you out, but last week you had the Cardinals. I had the Rams. It definitely happened.
You were right. I was wrong.
Right.
But I even thought that was going to be a better game, even if they did lose.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a better game. But speaking of people being wrong, I was certainly wrong about this one. My Steelers could not finish the job against Kansas City. And you did have Kansas City. So we're even. We were both wrong. I think mine was more obvious.
Honest, everybody's like, Kansas City, Kansas City. I didn't think they looked that great.
Yeah, I mean, the first quarter was, I think, really said a lot about Kansas City as well, that it was 0-0 in the first quarter. And I was getting text messages like, the Steelers have a chance. I'm like, yeah, if we can keep it to this. And then we got a defensive touchdown and I was like, okay, we got this. But then, as soon as we made our mistakes, which I knew we were going to do, they're going to capitalize on those mistakes. And that's exactly what happened. Obviously, Mahomes went off and had 5 touchdowns himself. And for 404 yards, but we shouldn't have put ourselves in a situation where it was like, okay, let's just turn it around and make it so easy to solve the problem that we were giving Mahomes in the first quarter. We should have switched it up because he figured out what was happening, figured it out, assessed it, changed his style, and then we didn't have an answer for his rebuttal.
Which is important to say because that's exactly what the Cowboys did not do, and that's why they lost.
Yeah.
And this is the exact reason why the Chiefs won. I don't see that continuing though.
Yeah.
And I know this is going to be a bold pick. I have the Bills over the Chiefs for this reason. I felt like the Chiefs got comfortable and they did just enough to win, and I don't think that that's going to be enough. If they get behind on the Bills, they're not coming back. You can't bounce back from that. They're going to run. They are going to destroy them. Yeah, they just are.
I completely agree with you. And that's my reason as well why I have the Bills over the Chiefs this weekend. I feel like if the Bills can come out strong like they did against New England and they don't make it possible for Mahomes to play catch up, I think that their defense has the chance of stopping him.
Oh, absolutely. And Mahomes he's gotten a little bit better, but he still has that. He's making the same mistakes that he did at the beginning of the year as he is now. It's just now his defense is playing better, so that's making up for it. And you have your 2 main guys that are making plays for you. The offensive line has adapted a little bit, but honestly, I've tweeted this out, Orlando Brown Jr. is going to be a problem, and you can bet your rear that the Bills are going to take advantage of that. They're going to target your left tackle because they know he's not athletic enough. He's getting lazy. He's using his length. He's relying on that and not actually getting down to technique. He's not setting himself. He does not initiate contact when he gets tired. He doesn't make those lateral movements. He's not using his footwork. And that impacts the rest of the line. We're going to watch that happen. What happens whenever Mahomes gets sacked? He gets uncomfortable and he makes silly decisions because he's just trying to get the ball off.
Yeah. And that's exactly what's going to happen if the Bills can come out strong against him and really frustrate him. I think he's going to struggle. I 100% agree.
Too.
He's going to struggle.
He hasn't gotten that. I haven't watched a game where Patrick Mahomes has felt comfortable in the pocket where they're not completely dominating the situation. If they're not up by 20 plus points, he's not comfortable.
No.
And he makes silly decisions.
Yeah.
So what happens is no offense to the Steelers, but when you play a good team that actually has a defense that can keep up with you and shut you down and make you question what you're wanting to do with, the Bills have some crazy subfronts and people don't recognize that. Specifically on 3rd down, Patrick Mahomes is going to struggle. He's not going to, if he gets himself into a 3rd and long situation, it's going to be trouble.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing how he tries to answer that and trying to decipher how the defense is going to put up on that 3rd and see if he can find an answer. Because if he can, figure it out, first quarter gets frustrated, has a rough first, and then can come back in the second and have an answer, that'll say a lot. But I don't know that he's going to have that answer because all season long we've been kind of waiting for that. And other teams have given them quite a struggle as well.
Mm-hmm. And even the games that we saw them have great games. A lot of it was dependent on their defense.
Yeah.
I really worry about whether the Chiefs are able to shut down the Bills' defense. If you're able to stop the run, can you stop Josh Allen from escaping the pocket? Sorry, my dog is really just in my business right now. Can you stop Josh Allen from escaping the pocket? Can you shut down the weapons downfield? Can you shut down the midfield? The Bills have so many weapons, and when Josh Allen is playing the way that Josh Allen played last week, that's difficult. I mean, the man threw a perfect game.
Yeah.
The first ever NFL perfect game.
Yeah. Like he looked perfect. The way that he was even running the ball, he looked confident. There never seemed to be a moment of hesitation that entire game. I think it's the most confident I've seen him in a long time.
And the Patriots have a good defense. They do.
Yeah,
I know everybody was crapping on it, saying that it was bad. I thought Josh Allen was just that great. And that could just be my opinion, but man, the Patriots have a good defense, and Josh Allen just went crazy over him.
He absolutely did. Kyle saying that our third co-host is quite the dog.
He's so ugly. He's cute.
Aw, he's adorable. I love him. Super cute. But let's talk a little bit more about that game as well. Since we're going to kind of pivot a little bit, we can go back and forth. Obviously, the Chiefs are going to be taking on the Bills. Were there any weaknesses that you saw in the Bills in that game, or did it just really feel so succinct that really gave you no cause for concern? I mean, I was worried about the Patriots' future watching this game. I was like, I thought you guys had answers for these situations. Like, Bill, what are you doing? Like, I was kind of like, did Bill leave? Like, what's happening? I was very confused watching this game because it didn't look like the Patriots. They didn't look like themselves.
No, but also the Bills came out. I don't know if you noticed this. The Bills weren't running their offense. From what I film studied before going into this game, they weren't giving us everything that they gave us. And honestly, like I watch football from the offensive line back, right? So I can usually tell what's going to happen based off of what's happening on the offensive line, and then I watch it from there. A couple of the times, I think Josh Allen was just doing Josh Allen things because it did not make sense. The way that the blocks were headed, what his coverage was, what the defense was giving them, made zero sense what Josh Allen was doing, but it worked. And so I was like, okay, he's doing his own thing, which is what Patrick Mahomes used to do, except Patrick Mahomes doesn't complete it all the time. Here's the difference. I think Patrick Mahomes puts too much pressure on himself to where he makes bad decisions. I think he overthinks it. Whereas Josh Allen, it's just instinctively does it. And I also feel like Josh Allen is better at escaping the pocket. Patrick Mahomes is scared of getting hurt. I don't think Josh Allen is. Yeah. But no, my notes from the game, literally, I said, super impressed with Spencer Brown. He initiates contact and just dominates the front and the second level. Those were my notes from the game. I mean, the rest of it was just Josh Allen is insane. And Tommy Doyle. Can we give it up for the man? Wow. You know we love a thick six.
You know we love it. And
I get so excited when teams run these plays. The Chiefs also did. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, they did.
Nick Allegretti, which honestly, he threw out an insane block. He was my number one thick six of the week because I'm not talking about like a block. He literally rotated the guy, threw him down, and then went and caught the ball.
Yes, that was
like completely completed his assignment before he wasn't eligible. Receiver.
Understood the assignment, like more than understood the assignment and completed. To like,
it was beautiful.
It was beautiful. I mean, I was watching it and I was like, let's go. You watched it.
It was sexy.
Times?
Yes,
it was a good hit. Like, it was a good hit and play.
He knew he was getting the ball, or he at least had the opportunity to. He did not have to put that much effort, but he knew the camera was going to be back on him, so he put that man into the ground and then turned around and went and caught the ball.
Yeah,
I mean,
was an ultimate finishing move. Like,
you go, Nick.
Just all the
I
props,
hope we see another one next week with these two facing off. I hope somebody gives us I need it to be Spencer Brown because Spencer Brown is the one that went up to went up like to one of the fans and took a beer and just chugged it. And then he got Bud Light, sent him all that stuff. He got fined from the NFL, crazy amount of money, and he said it was worth it. But I know for a fact that if they get Spencer Brown the ball in the end zone, he's chugging a beer. And then he's probably going to celebrate at Chili's because that man loves the 2 for $20 deal or whatever it is. He loves Chili's.
I love that. Who doesn't love them some Chili's? I love the 2 for $20 deal. It's a good time.
I agree.
Yeah, that was absolutely insane. I think I'm just disappointed in the Patriots, and I mean, obviously, looking at that performance in that game and all the work, knowing what they need to do next year to make it back to the playoffs and to go further in the playoffs, feels like there's a lot of off-season work they got to do.
There is a lot of off-season work. Kyle, I think that this started. Maybe it was the Super Bowl loss. I think that it's more of he didn't trust his offensive line going into the season. He also wasn't comfortable with the type of offense that they needed to run. So the Chiefs are a heavy RPO offense, which is great for an offensive line that isn't cohesive yet because it gives them a little bit extra time if the quarterback knows how to read the defense and actually go. The issue is the Chiefs don't run a lot of actual run plays, or they didn't. So their offense was built to be a run blocking offense. They're great with RPOs, except everybody knows that the Chiefs are not running the ball. Patrick Mahomes took on that superhero complex where he thought that he had to get the ball fast. He didn't trust his offensive linemen, so he would try to leave the pocket, but then he was making bad decisions. And every offensive lineman will tell you it is the worst thing to have to defend a quarterback who, one, holds onto the ball too long, or two, escapes the pocket where you can't defend them, and then you're having to then get position on somebody going lateral. It just it doesn't make sense, right?
No.
So I think a lot of that was he just had to trust his new teammates. He had to build that chemistry, that connection. They had to learn how to play towards his strengths. But a lot of this came down to Patrick Mahomes and the play calling. Also, we saw that develop a lot. Yeah. Finally, the Chiefs have incorporated more of a run game there.
No, I mean, if they hadn't, I don't think that they would have been able to. They wouldn't be in the position that they're in now, putting up the numbers they are in now, if they hadn't reactivated that very desperate need for a run game. And I mean, also, like, Jerick McKinnon, like, who thought really, like, that's the whole time I'm like, really, Jerick McKinnon? We're doing this? Okay, sure. Yeah, fine. But that was kind of like a little slap in the face as a Steelers fan. I'm like, really? You're doing it with this guy? Like, okay, fine. Like, brutal.
Do we have to?
Do we have to?
Yeah.
Ouch. Like,
no.
Ouch. Singe.
I also feel like Patrick Mahomes hasn't changed. He hasn't adapted as much as what you would have hoped, right?
Yeah.
He's still making the same mistakes. It's just masked because now the defense is playing a little bit better, and his team has adapted around him. That's the reason why I'm choosing the Bills over the Chiefs this week.
Yeah. I mean, and that's all the same reason why I'm choosing the Bills over the Chiefs as well. I mean, it's just the level of play on both sides of the ball that the Bills are delivering so consistently over 4 quarters, because you can't win a game in 1 quarter. You have to win in overall 4 quarters. I mean, I just feel like they're playing at the level that they need to in order to beat Kansas City. And I'm very confident that they'll be able to throw Patrick Mahomes off his game early and make it so that he's having to try to find the answer versus, just trying to extend the lead. Like you said, he's more comfortable there.
Mm-hmm. I also think the Chiefs are going to come into this way too cocky. Yeah. I really do. I think that they're going to expect the Bills to choke. When you look at it, as far as I look at things from an offensive line standpoint, they should dominate, but I don't think that they will. Yeah. I don't think they're going to give themselves a chance. But even just Kelsey throwing that touchdown, you could tell that they think this is a joke. Yeah. They really did. The game against the Steelers, they thought was a joke. I think that they think they're going to be able to walk in and just dominate this next week. And I hope the Bills give it to them.
I do too. Okay. I want this to be a really good match. I want this to be, not only am I definitely going to bet the over in a game like this, but this is one that I think it's going to be. We're seeing the future of the NFL. We're seeing what the next 10 years of the NFL is going to look like right here. And
these are dynasty quarterbacks.
Absolutely. These are franchise dynasty. Obviously Ben just retired, having spent 18 seasons with the Steelers. We're seeing the beginning of that for all of these for these two quarterbacks as well. This is the beginning of what we'll look back on a legacy. So living through these legacy games, that's going to be the exciting part for me. And I can't wait to see just how much of a fight the Bills give the Chiefs. I really feel like they're ready for it this year.
Yeah. RIP to all the tables in the United States.
RIP to all the tables.
They're all
Especially,
gone.
yeah, they're all going to be gone. Let's talk about the Cowboys and the Niners as the Niners are about to head against the Packers. And obviously there was that call and all the back and forth, and we can talk about that a little bit as well. But it really didn't feel like the Cowboys. It was so late for them to come back and try and win this. Like, they really played that fourth quarter the way they played in those last couple minutes should have been played so much earlier to not put themselves in this situation. It felt very late to the party, in my opinion.
This is what we've seen from the Cowboys all year long. And I picked the Cowboys, and everybody knows I picked them with reservations because of that.
Mm-hmm.
I have my own opinions. I feel like this was a game management problem. Time and time again, if you even just looked at this game, you saw that the Cowboys had no idea what's going on. Not one of them. The penalties, not being aware of how much time was on the clock, not being aware of the rules that the ref has to touch the ball. I mean, my 12-year-old little sister knows that rule. And I'm not trying to be crappy about it, but it's just the Cowboys they weren't ready to play at that level. They just weren't.
No.
And, I mean, going back to the offensive line, the 49ers came out from the first snap and just dominated in the trenches. The defensive line owned that offensive line, which should have not have that shouldn't have happened.
No.
The Cowboys offensive line should have manhandled the 49ers defensive line, and they did not. They got handed to them over and over and over again. The Cowboys had no answer.
No. Club Fantasy joining us saying the Cowboys are poorly coached, plain and simple. McCarthy isn't a good head coach. I mean, we can talk about McCarthy as well, but I mean, just down to the plain and simple of not being able to manage the game. And I feel like this is something we've definitely said. I know that I've heard you say multiple times this season that just the game management for the Cowboys has been completely off. And
it has.
At that base level, if you can't get that right, then how can you expect to win if you're not going to handle the basics? Like, this is something that you should all be getting.
I mean, calling timeouts when it's just like, what are you doing? It's been all season long. We've been harping on this. And I've said multiple times the Cowboys won that game in spite of Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
I think it was Ross Tucker tweeted out, Kellen Moore called that play because he wanted the head coaching job. I kind of giggled when I read that. But in all fairness, I did go back. I was watching film, and I know everybody's like, what were they doing? They don't agree with that play call, whatever. If you look at the defense, that's really what should have been called. Okay, here's the thing, though. Pollard is not successful. Zeke's not there. Zeke does nothing if Pollard's not there. What really happens is Blake Jarwin isn't healthy and isn't strong. That's when the backfield struggles. I don't know why. Is it because of the blocking? I'm not sure. But yeah.
Albert jumping in saying they should have used Pollard more instead of Zeke. And yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I feel like they don't have success without each other. So it's not that you could necessarily say just bench Zeke and only play Pollard. That's not how you're going to find success either.
Yeah.
Oops. We both clicked on the same thing.
we were trying to put it up. We got to get a producer back here running this. They should use
Angel, what are you doing right now?
Yeah.
Come help us.
Help.
Help.
2 running backs in the field. Yeah, but at the same time, when I'm watching this, there were multiple plays that they could have been successful even with one running back.
Yeah.
They didn't execute well. But
no, this comes down to basic execution. This comes down to doing the basics right. And they didn't take care of business on that end. And that's why they couldn't get the win in this one. But I mean, what we saw from the Niners, does that give you hope that they have a chance
Absolutely
against the Packers?
Not. I feel like the Niners played terrible too. In my opinion, I was like, the Niners are going to go in and they're going to get smacked.
Yeah. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to have himself a rough day at the office this weekend.
And they also made stupid decisions. the decisions that the Cowboys made outshine the stupid decisions that the 49ers made, but it was awful. What happened with that punt?
No freaking clue.
What happened?
Yeah.
I thought it was a joke. I was like, am I missing something? I thought it was me. I felt like I was being gaslighted by both of those teams that entire game.
There was a lot of things that didn't make sense, but no, I think we can pivot off of the Niners when we can talk about the Bucs Eagles.
Will said that. But they were hoping for a timeout, I guess. That's the only thing that I can come to.
Why did they leave the special teams on the field?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying though, is even if so I went back and I watched the film on this because I like to do that.
Yeah.
You would see on their faces, nobody knew what was happening. And when your head coach is like, I'm sorry, but that's what Mike McCarthy did. Hang on.
That's a very good Mike McCarthy.
Like
that is a very good.
Come on. Like, let's get some hustle. Let's do something.
Yes.
I feel like the Dallas Cowboys were not checked in. And that's the reason why I think Mike McCarthy has got to go, because the game management, I'm not even talking about this game, has been all season long. Go back and tell me a game where he managed the game well. That's your only job as a head coach on Sundays or Mondays or Thursdays, is to manage the game. You are a game manager.
Yeah.
And when you can't do that, there is a problem.
Yeah. No,
anyways, sorry.
No, I appreciate your rant. I agree. I mirror and emulate and applaud it. Could not agree with you more. I mean, this has just been underlining the problem that the Cowboys have had all season, that gets overshadowed by when they get lucky with a win or when something happens to go their way. But it's not. Those wins have been in spite of themselves, in spite of their mistakes.
Right.
And as a result, obviously they're not going to continue on in the playoffs, and there's going to have to be a lot of things addressed this off season. The defense as a whole over the season, I feel like was doing so much better than what they'd been doing before. So that gives Cowboys hope, obviously, going forward. But, an answer for this is going to come from a head coach change.
It is. And you can crap on Dak. You can do whatever you want. But Dak got super paid. Dak's not going anywhere. I think that the head coach is absolutely where it starts.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get somebody in there that is going to put emphasis on what needs to happen. You could tell that they lost because they didn't have any direction. They didn't have a purpose, right?
Yeah.
So they were out there just playing.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knew what the end goal was. Nobody knew what the game plan was. You could tell that they didn't have a game plan going into this. You watch Brady play, and you can tell exactly what he has instilled in everybody. This is what we're going to do. This is our attack. The Cowboys didn't have that. They were just out there playing. You know what I mean? When you guys go play laser tag or whatever, and the teams that are back there, and they're like, all right, you're going to go low. I'm going to take right. You're going to take left. I'm going to shoot down the middle. You're going to be a distraction, come across. I don't know if you guys play laser tag like I do, but that's what I do. And then you can tell the people who are just out there to have fun. There's nobody left. That's what happened to the Cowboys. They got demolished.
Yeah, you can't just go out there to have fun. It's a job. You gotta take this thing seriously. Yeah.
You gotta have a plan.
You gotta have a good manager. This is just down to basics.
We don't have dreams, we have goals, right? There's steps to goals.
Steps to goals. I like it. I want to talk about, because obviously, the Bengals, Raiders, and the Bucs, Eagles, you can kind of lump into similar formats in terms of what we got out of them, out of those games in particular. I want to look forward to, taking what we saw that the Bengals did this weekend, which Joe Burrow looked amazing. I mean, I know that I'm a Steelers fan, but oh man, am I ready to watch this guy's career. He is just a legend that's not even in the making. He's arrived as a legend and he's ready to go. And it's just exciting to watch. I can love my Steelers and still love Joe Burrow. I can do both. Don't tell me I can't do both. I hate it when fans are like, no, you can't like them at all. You have to think they're terrible.
100%.
I will do what I want.
Because you're a fan of the game. Yeah.
I am
fan
here.
First.
Let's go. Football fan first. I love this game, and it is amazing. I cannot wait to see what Burrow does against the Titans this weekend. I think the Titans having Derrick Henry back makes them much more formidable. Obviously, he is a wrecking ball at the position. But I don't know that Tannehill can keep up with this firepower that Burrow has. That's kind of what's going to underline it for me. Can he keep up with him?
I'm not confident in that either. I'm going Burrow this whole way.
Yeah.
And here's the thing with Burrow is you have T. Higgins and Jamar Chase on the outsides, right?
Oh, yeah.
If you shut them down, who's going to deal with Mixon?
Also, I mean,
who's going to deal with Burrow?
Who's going to deal with Burrow, who can also run? But then also, yes, you shut down those two receivers. Tyler Boyd had a touchdown in this game. CJ Uzoma is no slouch and has been used and leaned on and been there for his team also. So it's not like you have to just shut down two heads of this monster. You've got 6 across the board,
right?
Plus other people that will just show up and get the job done too, because Burrow's not someone that's gonna be like, oh, what I wanted didn't happen. It's like, oh, you're open, you're getting it. Like, come on, like he's going to make it happen. So I also am taking Cincinnati in this game as well. I just feel we might do a clean sweep of our picks in this one.
We might. Also, I feel like Burrow is the classic Gen Z example where he's not scared of anything.
Yes.
That man will stay in the pocket knowing that his head's about to get taken off, and he's so calm about it. You can tell he knows. He's like, yeah, I'm about to get laid out, but guess what? I'm going to hang in here just a little bit longer just in case I can get the ball off and get it down the field. He'll take a sack. He has no fear, which is incredibly terrifying for me as like an opposing team.
Yeah, he has no fear, but also he also knows the results of what can happen. He just experienced an injury that was just completely shredding his knee. So he knows what the worst thing that can happen to him is. He experienced it. He lived it. He knows what the rehab is. So it's like, I've been there before. I'm not scared of that. I'm not scared of that happening. So I'm not going to have that hesitation moment, which I agree makes him very scary in the pocket because he's got that like.
Because you can't rush like Stafford. 100%. If you threaten Stafford, he's done. Herbert, I said the same thing. You throw off Herbert's rhythm, he's done.
Yeah.
Burrow's like, okay, I'm going to come back up. I got another down. I don't care. Like, my head hurts. I'll handle it later. I agree, Avenged Nerd.
Have you watched Ted Lasso?
I love Ted Lasso.
So he's got the goldfish mindset where he's not letting it sit on. He's not letting it sit on him. He's letting it brush off and just going to the next move. He's got the Ted Lasso game going on, and that's why he's going to win this one.
Which is, I mean, any good defensive coach will tell you that the best defensive tactic that you can have is getting in someone's head.
Yep. Absolutely. And seeing that he's unshakable on that, and he's been consistently unshakable on that all season. This is not a new thing. This has been Burrow all year long, where even when they've lost, his face doesn't change. He's got this very good confidence going into it that it's like, no, I'm going to get the job done. I'll make my adjustments. I'm not going to let it fluster me and not let anyone else see that as well. Yeah, Jeremy, I agree. Burrow with the swag factor. I mean, and thank you. I do love my Ted Lasso, saying love the Ted Lasso reference. Love me some Ted Lasso.
Love you, Jeremy.
Let's get it.
Everybody loves Ted Lasso. If you haven't seen Ted Lasso,
you're under a rock.
Yeah,
like, let's go.
Watch it.
It's so good. Honestly, like, not to be dramatic, but I feel like Ted Lasso is a series, just the writing and the everything, the entire show. I feel like it's changed my life and my outlook on things differently.
It has. It's a feel-good show.
It's such a good feel-good show.
It's motivational. You
So
know what's
motivational.
Funny? My dental office has a Ted Lasso theme right now.
I love it.
Above where we all go in, so we have like a break room, and then we go out into like the back, and it has the believe sign. Like, it's yellow, it's hand painted. My boss made it. Almost like too expressive there.
You were excited. You were Ted Lasso.
I got really excited. But my boss made it, and it's just such a feel good reminder. So if you haven't seen Ted Lasso, you got to watch it.
Yes, it's a fantastic show. Definitely get on it. Let's make one last pick before we sign off for the evening. Rams Bucks going into this one. Obviously, the way that the Rams played this week, if they can be consistent, like we said earlier, if they can take this energy, do that against the Bucks, they'll have a good chance. Again, the Bucks are dealing with multiple injuries on their front. They're going to be without Godwin. Obviously, Antonio Brown's no longer there. So it's going to kind of fall to Mike Evans. Gronk is going to obviously pick up a lot of his playoff Gronkness. I fully expect to see at least one Gronk touchdown in this game. But are they going to be able to keep up with the Rams defense, having just played such an amazing game that they did?
If the Rams... So here's the thing. I feel like the Rams defense have figured out their identity, right? We talked about the Cowboys not having an identity. I feel like the Rams have figured out what to do with Von Miller and Aaron Donald. I feel like they figured out that way. I think that we're going to see, I've already mentioned this, I think we're going to see them bunch up on the right side where right tackle's already an issue. And if you talk about the offensive line, what has to happen, especially if you're facing a zone, is everybody goes into slide protection, right? So you protect your weakest side of the ball, which is typically the left side, the blind side, right? So your slide protection moves over and your left guard helps your left tackle. That forces your right guard and your right tackle to go one-on-one. If you have Aaron Donald and Von Miller on your right guard and right tackle, I can name so many good offensive linemen, and I would not put my money on any of them to be able to 100% shut down those two defensive players. So I think that it's going to be an issue. And I also feel like Brady doesn't have enough weapons, even with Gronk, to be able to get the ball off quick and efficiently each time. Is he going to be able to do that? Yes. Play action is going to be great. Is he going to be able to do it every time? No. And I think the Bucs are very limited. So if Stafford can come out and play the same way that he did last week, this week, I think that the Rams have a great shot. I really do.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think I had a lot more doubts before this Monday night game about the Rams going through the playoffs. I had so many more, but seeing the way that they adjusted, seeing the consistency across all four quarters gave me much more hope for a playoff version of Rams that I think we're all excited to see. And as long as Stafford doesn't have an interception in this game, I think the Rams take it. So I'm going to put both of us down for the Rams. Then we made a clean sweep. All our picks, we match up.
We did. And it's just everybody knows the Bucs secondary's been terrible all season. They finally started to progress a little bit. They're not going to be able to shut down Kupp 100%. No. And if they are, they're not going to be able to shut down the run. And the Rams have proven that they can do whatever they want to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Will Jenkins, we really appreciate you. Will saying Maddie and Sam is greater than Peyton and Eli. Thank you so much. That means a lot.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I still watch the Manning brothers because they're fun.
They're fun. They're definitely
it's a good broadcast. That's what I was watching last night.
That was the one thing that I missed out on having been at the game was I didn't get to watch the Manning cast. And I did get to see that The Rock was on. Was he a good guest? Did he fill all the blanks? Was it like everything you'd hope for?
No. Okay. So I think
was it disappointing?
It was, but I think that this might be a me thing because I was obsessed with Ballers on HBO Max, if anybody's seen that.
Yeah.
And we get this like Spencer, just strong three-piece suit guy who comes out, he's cocky. And it was none of that. He was promoting his tequila, which, I mean, shameless plug at you, I agree. But it was just constant. He just did that, like, nervous giggle, where you're, like, afraid to say anything. And you're just like, and you're waiting for somebody to lead you. I've been there. I've been that person, so I can recognize it now.
Yeah.
I just expected more.
Yeah, I would definitely, with his presence and the way that he presents himself, also just on other interview shows, he doesn't, I think maybe he also just needs that someone else to bounce off of, because some of my favorite things to watch are whenever he does an interview with Kevin Hart and the 1-2 punch of them back and forth.
Yes.
I think he maybe needs that other guy to bounce things off of right now, which is kind of sad. It's like The Rock, like, you're good on your own. What are you doing, dude? Like, we are all still here to watch you. You don't need to have that. But that's so disappointing to hear that it was.
And I think that it's that tricky situation, right? So The Rock does know a little bit about football, and he portrays all these football characters on TV. You get.
Yeah, Terramana is amazing. He can promote it all the time. Yeah, it's good.
Had it. I need to try it.
Okay, just my personal opinion on tequilas, and I know that everyone's got their own tequila opinion. I like Casamigos better. I like the Clooney tequila better.
I can't say that I like one better. I'm gonna try it. I'm a big tequila person.
Try it.
I have my favorite tequila that I drink all the time, and it's like once you like one thing, you kind of stick with it. But I'm gonna venture out and I'm gonna try it. I did try 818, and it's actually pretty good.
Really? I really don't want to like that one because I think it's the most unimaginative packaging and label name ever, because they live in the 818. So it's like, to me, like, obviously, like, I do that drive all the time. I'm passing through Calabasas all the time. So to me, I'm just like, really? And you pick the most boring generic bottle when your sister Kylie spends as much money as she does on packaging. Maybe it's the graphic designer in me. I'm just super underwhelmed by that bottle.
I think that's what I like, though, is that she could have gone over the top and she's just simple in her. I don't know.
To me, that came across as lazy.
Lazy?
That came across as lazy.
Teach their own. I felt like it was good, but I also really enjoy tequila. Like, I drink tequila straight. I don't like it cold. I like warm tequila, and I just down it.
Love it.
Protecting the Packers.
Yeah, we missed one team that we needed to project, or no, we did, but we brushed over it quickly because we think that the Niners are going to get absolutely spanked by the Packers. Kyle, we're both picking the Packers in this one. Hashtag spoiler alert, but we both think that the Niners are not going to be able to keep up with Aaron Rodgers. With
Deebo Samuel cannot carry this team on his back.
Like he can get you back this round.
My back hurts for him right now.
Yes, my knees hurt for him at this point. My God, no, like that's a lot to ask of Deebo Samuel to carry this team, and as a result, like next season, I feel like the Niners, we're going to be seeing Trey Lance begin his domination, because I don't think that a team like helmed by Jimmy Garoppolo can make it past the first round of the playoffs. I just don't think it's going to happen. And you need that X factor, and you don't have that. You can have that with a fun player like Deebo. You can have that with a big guy like George Kittle. But if you don't have the X factor to be able to really change the way that those players are used throughout the game and step it up on all sides, I just don't think it's going to happen.
I'm putting this up there for you.
Yeah. Jimmy G, Albert, don't you put that evil on me. Albert saying that Jimmy G is going to go to the Steelers. Please, God, no.
I want Tomlin to get a young quarterback that he can mold, because I feel like we have not seen that out of him, and I think that it could be dangerous.
Oh.
I honestly, you know who I think would be good?
Who?
You're going to laugh at me. It would never happen because, Ravens-Steelers rivalry.
Tyler Huntley, please.
I feel like Huntley would do some insane things.
I would be so bleeping excited if we got Tyler Huntley, but it wouldn't happen.
It wouldn't happen. But I'm telling you, even the Ravens offensive line that he stood behind did not look good. I think that he could step into Pittsburgh right now and be decently successful. I really do. And I think that Tomlin would have his whole little approach. I think he would vibe. I think the chemistry would be there. You have Claypool. I think Juju would stick around and just go off for him.
Oh,
I do. It would be a perfect fit.
Here's the thing with Juju that I think a lot of people forget. Juju makes so much money off of TikTok and everything else that he does. He is his own brand. The Juju brand breaks in enough money that if he wants a ring, he's going to get paid less to be wherever it's going to take to get that ring. But also, he loves the fan base and Steelers, so he doesn't want to go. I think unless they trade him, he's going to continue to sign for less because he just wants to be there and loves the atmosphere.
It also cracks me up where they're like, Juju here, Juju there. And I'm like, name another head coach that would tolerate him doing TikToks in the middle of a field. Mike Tomlin's the only one who's just like, he also plays well. It's TikTok. It's fine.
All of the Antonio Brown doing, taking the jersey off and all the craziness, all of this just underlines the fact that, Mike Tomlin is a very underrated coach in the essence of what he tolerates from his players and what he gets out of his players. That equivalent of there's a difference between putting up with and what you can get out of that. And he was able to do so much with Antonio Brown, with Lev Bell, when they were still being crazy, and was able to dial them back enough to get the job done, to have success. He's just another level of a brilliant coach. Again, just Mike Tomlin, if you happen to be watching our show, I would love to interview you. Can we just hang out? I'll buy you anything.
Somebody retweet this. Let's get Sam an interview with Mike Tomlin. Let's do it. Let's just get it done.
I have so many questions. Do you watch Ted Lasso? It's just I have dumb questions and I have good questions. What do you do in your free time? How do you do?
I just want to know what he thinks is funny, because he's so composed all the time.
Oh, that is such a good question.
That he has just everybody has that side to him.
Everybody's got a side. What is his taste of humor? What is that level? Is he someone that with his core group of friends, he's doing the Step Brothers quotes, doing the Anchorman's quotes, with his friends? Is he that guy? Or is he just the more methodical and more cerebral type of humor, where it's like the subliminal ones, like where he's like, oh, you have no idea how many jokes I say in my interviews, and it's just like the subtext of the subtext type of jokes, like, which I also appreciate. But yeah, I would also love to know that. Like,
I really want to know like what kind of music he bumps to, because I feel like maybe this is just me. I've been into really like old school rap lately. I think that he's like on that type of vibe. I could see him getting down to like Wu-Tang or A Tribe Called Quest.
Yeah. No, I feel like that, like whatever playlist is Mike Tomlin's playlist, like I would listen to like get me like hyped in the morning, to get me like hyped before a meeting, like literally any kind of hype before anything. Like if I had to like pre-hype before like going out on a date, I would love to have like the Mike Tomlin playlist just to get me like excited for like life.
I love that. I'm there for it.
Yes, that would be really good.
Do you want to take one more?
Yeah, one more.
Where's?
And then we've got the Avenged Nerd saying, do you think that Rodgers stays in Green Bay if they don't make the Super Bowl? 100%. If they don't make and win the Super Bowl, I'm going to say and win. If they lose the Super Bowl, he's gone too. He is out of Green Bay. Like 100%, I believe he's not going to be there anymore. And my top place for him, I think for a lot of people, is I think Denver is going to be where he lands. Denver is like preset the table, pre-signed the receivers that he would need. They're ready for him. They're just looking at the clock, tearing pages away off that calendar, waiting for the day that they can make that offer.
And Aaron Rodgers is going to do the Tom Brady thing, the LeBron James thing, where you make the call, hey, I'm going here. This is the move.
100%.
Yep. And people will do that. They want the ring. We're going to start seeing more of this happen. The way the NFL is structured, it's not a players' league. It's just not. It's a business. It's ran by the suits.
Yep.
But slowly, these superstars, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, they are turning things around. We're going to watch it happen with Russell Wilson. Russ is going to end up leaving, and he's going to do the same thing. He's going to call and say, hey, I'm going here. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. And it's the exact same thing that we all, as NBA fans, got upset about with LeBron doing, saying, hey, Dwayne Wade, let's go. Yeah. Where you take all these superstars and you go make your own team. That's what we're going to start watching happening in the NFL, because people want they want that ring.
Yeah.
When you hear any player being introduced, 100% of the time, even if they never played a down in a Super Bowl, they're introduced as Super Bowl champion. So-and-so.
It's
people
like,
want that.
It's like when you get the Oscar nomination, it didn't have to be win it. Oscar nominated, like before your name. That's what happens to all these actors and actresses as well. Like as soon as you get the nod, like that goes on the list. That's forever. Like,
and they deserve
legends
it.
never die. And they do. They've heard.
It's so hard to win in the NFL. It is, and I know people don't agree with that, but it truly is so difficult to go out and win a game in the NFL. To win a Super Bowl, you're world champions. That's truly something to be proud of. Definitely.
And to just underline the answer to that question, I fully believe that unless Aaron Rodgers wins the Super Bowl with the Packers, I do not see him going back to the Packers. Yeah. And that's also to say, like, I'm also like not 100% that if he even wins the Super Bowl that he's like still staying. I feel like that would just be like, here is a gift. I am moving on. Like, you are welcome for my presence. I'm going. Like, I also
think if he wins a Super Bowl, he's done.
Yeah, I could see that too. Him just retiring.
Aaron Rodgers is petty. I'm sorry. We learned that from watching The Bachelor, right? Aaron Rodgers doesn't talk to his own family. His fiance went on and publicly said, I don't really know what he does. He throws balls for a living. She's publicly said, I would like it if he stepped away and never messed with it again. She wants him to be there full time. Yeah. Obviously, once you get to a certain stage in your life, you want to start settling down. I think he's there. I think that this is the one thing that he wants to get done before he goes. So if he wins the Super Bowl, that's the end of Aaron Rodgers. We might see him on Jeopardy. Maybe something else. I can see him hosting a show. He'll move into something, but
he'll move into something entertainment for sure.
And it's not going to be a broadcaster. We're not going to see him do the Drew Brees thing.
No, I don't think he has the patience for it. I think he's like, once he's done talking about it, he wants to talk about other stuff. You can tell even in interviews, like post game, he's like, I'm done with these questions. Like, I'm just done with this. Like, so I agree. I could also see if he won the
I
Super
can
Bowl,
see him
he would
running for
retire.
office. I can truly see him trying to be like a governor or something next.
Oh my God. Don't put that in my state because I know it'll end up being in California.
Oh yeah. You guys vote anybody in.
I know. We're just here to party and have fun. Like, crying out loud. Like, it'll happen.
I can't say anything.
It is what it is. It is what it is. All right, last one, and then we'll sign off. This one from Jeremy. He wants to know, how many thick sixes will we get this weekend? I guess the question is, how many will we get versus how many do you want?
I want them all.
I want them all.
I want one each game minimum. But I think we're gonna have at least one. I do.
I mean, we had quite a few this weekend too, so I would venture to guess at least two. At least two thick sixes. Like, all of these games, though we've picked very evenly across the board, all of these games are must watches. They're going to be really intense. So I don't think that, knock on wood, I hope there isn't. I don't think there's going to be a blowout necessarily in any of them. I think there's going to be some very ferocious styles of play in each of these matchups. So I could see there being
Green Bay has blowout potential.
It has the potential, yes. But I do think that, like, could we see something crazy with Shanahan just trying to make it work? Like, yeah, I think something crazy could happen just because they're going to be in desperation mode to make it happen. But I think maybe at least two. Love it. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. This was a really fun episode. And again, sorry that it couldn't be yesterday, but we got it done. We got it in.
And thank you guys for joining us in the comments. It's so much more fun when we get to hang out with everybody.
Yes, I 100% agree. Thank you guys again for listening to Look Back Podcast with Sam and Maddie. Check out all the other content, seasonal and DFS tools, as well as premium access to our staff for all your fantasy sports questions in the members only Discord right here at drroto.com. Have a wonderful week, guys, and we'll look forward to chatting with you next week with more playoff analysis.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well,